Hey, Jared.
Hello, Glenn.
What's happening?
Um, Time is happening. The world is spinning. Um, I wanted to ask you about a book.
Hey?
I wanted to ask you about a book. Do you remember an author called Manuel Velikovsky?
Yeah.
Uh, when you read into his stuff, did you buy stuff from like the late 70s or was it earlier 50s?
I bought it probably 5 years ago. Used books,
Yeah.
I think they were, but I don't know the dates.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at them.
Yeah.
He's Mossad.
Hmm? What'd you say?
Mossad.
What's that?
Yeah, secret police, Israeli.
Oh, Mossad. Oh, that's what he was. Oh, yeah, 'cause I came across some stuff. That looked kind of interesting.
He's a little bit like David Icke.
Oh, is he?
He gives part truth
Mhm.
and then confuses the issue.
Mm. Was it easy to discern? Like,
Yeah, for me it was.
all right. I think I
The
might.
thing they're trying to hide more than anything else is the time frame involved in the activities of Egypt and Israel. If you had the proper time frame, you would see that Akhenaten and Moses are the same person.
Came across some stuff, some Egyptian literature. Cause I'm kind of like I know of it. I read some stuff about it, but I don't have that deep of an understanding, I guess, of Egypt civilization, culture.
Can't hear you.
I said I know of it, a little about it, but I don't have like a deep understanding of like Egyptian culture and
Hmm.
their religion and
I
stuff.
got a call this week about you, and I hung up on the guy.
Was it who was it? Was it a guy from Iowa?
I don't remember exactly. He had spoken to me once before, and he had seen my stuff on your site and said after he contacted you, all he got was trouble uh, on his computer and things that were happening all over.
Oh, it sounds like a guy I was talking to.
Yeah. I told him, I said, look, if you are interested in talking about problems, then I'm going to hang up. I'm only interested in those people who are working on the solution. Yeah, but I just want to tell you about. So I hung up on him.
I don't know if it's the same guy because I was speaking to one guy, but like it just I get like he's a little drunk because this guy was like trained in some Buddhist type of training and it's just like he makes like good points and he's able to connect the dots, but that Buddhist um, religion kind of screws it all up.
Could have been the same guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to hear Buddha's name this time around, because as soon as he started down that path, I told him not to waste my time, and when he insisted on doing it, I hung up.
Could have been. But he never told me anything about that. You hung up on him, so I don't know. Oh yeah, I was wondering if would you like have a chance to have a conference call, like I guess with me, Dana, or Brian?
Probably Saturday, if that's convenient.
Yeah, between 2 and 4, same time.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. We tried calling you last week, but I guess it was a little late. Um, yeah, we've been having we have another conference call I was having, and it'll be me and Brian. It's kind of more like public, and we'll talk about solutions, trying to I guess bringing together the minds. And it seems like it's like making a difference, I guess. So I find when I talk to people who understand the premise, when I talk to them, it gets my brain working. Like it's like that, the whole concept.
What do you know about Temple University?
Temple University.
Eh?
Do I know about them?
Yeah.
No. Where is it?
Temple University.
Temple.
I don't know where it is. I think it's in the U.S. Probably someplace around Philadelphia. It's a black university, from what I gather.
Oh, yeah, I've heard a lot of those black, like more down south. I think the name does sound kind of familiar, but
you know somebody by the name of Bob Urey?
Bob Urey, no. Oh, no, that person. Why do you ask?
Eure.
Urey. No, I don't know that.
Or Dr. Salt?
Salt?
Yeah.
No.
Doesn't ring a bell?
I had no. The only university person that I can remember was I can't even remember his name. But I don't think it was Philadelphia.
From what I understand, these people were the leaders of the UFO investigation group, and they've come to me, and I told them they got it backwards. They're looking up when they should be looking down. This guy, Bob Urey, puts together conferences.
To talk about UFOs?
Yeah, I think he said 72 years old.
No, I don't, the whole UFO thing, I never delved, I know of UFOs, but I see where they all take it, so I kind of stay away from it. It's just
sounds too close to IOU.
There's a good series on History Channel. They talk about these ancient civilizations and stuff, but they all say not civilizations, but they say that like it's all about the way they spin it. That they say, oh, extraterrestrials or aliens came here, but and they'll go in Peru and all these tribes and stuff, and you look at their mythologies and you'll see all these reptiles. It's interesting because you'll see it's all like Neanderthal influence.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, they just got it backwards.
yeah, yeah. Maybe they could look at your stuff and put it together, or maybe that's just their job. You know. I know a guy who called me a while ago. I spoke to him the other day, and he said he called Jordan Maxwell, and he asked Jordan Maxwell about you, and he's like, yeah, I know Glenn, and what was it? I guess I don't know. It seemed like he didn't have anything bad to say about you or anything, and
Jordan Maxwell is a pretty good investigator of symbols,
mhm,
and I suspect that um, he's in it for the money.
oh yeah,
He's not out to solve anything. He's only there to demonstrate connections between symbols. And he has, he told me the name Jordan Maxwell is a made-up name, uh, so that it wouldn't endanger his family.
mm,
But from what I've seen,
mhm.
there's no reason to endanger his family because he's not, in fact, doing anything.
You know, this is what he said. He said, like, 'cause the guy asked him, he goes, hey, he's like, I know you give hints, Jordan, about there's something more to what you're saying. How come you don't say anything? He goes, well, I have FBI agents. I just got off the phone with FBI. They're watching me. They tell me, hey, Jordan, if you get out of line, you're in trouble or stuff
That's bullshit.
like that.
I haven't heard anything that he said
mhm.
that would put him in any danger.
Yeah. Well, I think if you know you're in a different position, you're not in any secret societies like he is. I think I guess it's like signing a contract. You can't breach it.
Yeah.
Um, like me, I say whatever I want, and I don't hear. The only thing I have is just problems, electronic problems. Sometimes I have the feeling the people I talk to, they'll start having problems, things in their lives. I know one person who she 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 has like she's been having like neurological problems. She's been going to a neurologist and she can't. She says she'll be walking and she just sometimes and she won't even know where she is. And she like her memory is fading. She said,
You're gone again.
"Oh, you don't hear me? Hello?"
Yeah, now I hear you.
Yeah, she told me that. I have a friend who told me that like she'll be walking, that taking a walk, and sometimes and she won't even know where she is, and her memory seems to be fading. And she says she's been going to three neurologists, different neurologists, to see what's wrong with
Well, you know who they send them to see, eh?
her. Who?
They call them therapists.
The rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've been wondering too. I've been talking to Dana, wondering about you, man. Like,
well, they shut down my telephone
mhm,
for a while. They shut down the electricity for a while. They overloaded Jennifer's computer with viruses that it just didn't even come on.
Oh, I thought that's the same. I'm in the same boat with Jennifer with that, like, 'cause I know how that feels. It just will never come on.
Yeah.
2 computers I had, a brand new computer, Glenn, the computer a friend gave me, and never had a problem for years. He said he had his computer. As soon as I got it, 3 days later, shut down.
Yeah. Well, mine would have been totally shut down if they weren't so old.
Yeah.
They don't speak their language.
Yeah.
But I still get no emails.
Yeah. So yeah, I did have to. I was talking to Brian, and he said, yeah, there's a post that you made that he never got, and I had to send it to him and Dana.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Dana were wondering about you, like, because for years they've been trying to stop you posting, and it seems like they've been successful as of now, like, because you haven't been able to post, you haven't been post because I guess you're caught up.
Well, what I've been doing with Jennifer is working on a plan, and part of the plan involved getting through to the Canadian government through the bureaucratic ranks rather than the political ranks. A politician in charge of a government department is called a cabinet minister.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who actually runs the department and is there before a cabinet minister is appointed and is there after that cabinet minister leaves is called a deputy minister. And his area has much more power over the activities of the government departments. Because of Jennifer's problem relating to the Department of Citizenship and Immigration, and mine recently relating to pension funds, but half, we started a campaign bombarding the deputy minister's fax machines. There's about 30 deputy ministers in Canada. And it appears to be working to the point where I got a call back from Canada Pension Fund. Basic gist of what they said was, we looked at your pension and the fact that someone had ordered it cut in half. We want you to know that on the next payment you will get back the full amount you had before. And I said, that's nice. What about all the money you stole? And she said, well, I'm investigating. And at the end of the investigation, it'll be decided what to do. I said, well, how can you tell me on the one hand that you're reestablishing my pension where it should have been, and still question sending me back what you already stole? And she said, well, you'll hear from us in 4 or 5 days. And now I've heard that it's going to be reestablished at the end of December. And I said, and what about compensation? What do you mean compensation? Well, I said, if I went out and stole and I was taken to court, restitution would go towards punishment. If I had given restitution, I might get a lighter sentence. But that doesn't have any effect upon going to jail. Said, if you guys don't want to go to jail, you should be, number one, giving restitution, number two, giving interest on what you stole for the period you had it, number three, paying fees for damages for the pain and suffering that you cause when you do such a thing. Well, we don't do that, she said. Yeah, well, that's why there's a problem here. You're acting like you're above the law. That's not satisfactory. What I want from you guys is restitution, interest, and damages. Otherwise, I want you to go to jail.
Yeah, you don't fuck around. You talk to these guys on the phone.
So they're apparently, because a department is responsible for pensions, they thought they could get away with it. And when you contact all the deputy ministers, the other deputy ministers at first say, oh, this is for that department, and they pass it on to them. So all of a sudden the department starts to know that what they thought they controlled and nobody else knew about, all of a sudden they're getting bombarded with copies of faxes that came from 27 other departments. And they start to worry a little bit. And as you keep feeding the other departments information, all of a sudden it clicks that, hey, I may run one department of the government that's not involved in this directly. But if what is happening there is true, it will have an effect on the entire government in the long run. One thing to steal $500 a month from Kealey, but if that opens the door to saying it's okay to steal from the pension fund, what does that mean for me? If someone decided when I was retired, as a deputy minister, making $500,000 a year in pension, somebody decided, no, I just deserve $25. Does that mean because I let this one slip by on Kealey that I'm opening the door against me? And if that's true, what about the rest of Canada? So the pressure started to build on the inside. The department that was doing it was starting to get shaken from all directions. I think that's what's motivating them to put it back.
From all of this, Glenn, because you had another situation years ago when you were in court and you found out at the end that you were being used. What are you getting from all this? What are you learning from all this?
The important thing for me, Gerd, is not the end result of what happens in any single case. Mm-hmm. The important thing for me is to observe, analyze by making the links between all the things they're doing illegally. Mm-hmm. To understand, overstand, and verstand the entire conspiracy from all of its facets. One thing to believe that someone in government is a crook. It's another thing to know exactly how the conspiracy works and how they attack you from all directions. That while you're defending yourself here, there's another gang hitting you in the back or on the side or whatever, and they always appear to be unconnected. The insurance industry, the banking industry, the police industry, the military industry, the political industry, the union industry, the hydroelectric industry, the water distribution system industry. And when you have the big picture, what they can do to an individual who doesn't grasp the concept of how they're being manipulated from all sides by a single common interest. Once you grasp that concept, you bring it to the only court that can deal with the subject. And the court is the creation criminal court of final
judgment.
What's the word they use?
What is it associated with?
No, it's in DNA. You of last recombination. That's what they call it. The court of last recombination, which means if creation created this universe and intended certain things to happen, and now has the evidence of how it's being manipulated, creation then makes the decision to take the lessons learned, allow these people to go beyond the point of transition, and they will basically kill themselves by expanding beyond the power of gravity, do anything about it. And therefore they can be ignored because they'll all die. But from the lessons learned on setting up the next universe, these considerations are brought into play. And to make sure that the DNA of policemen that have been reanimated, or priests that have been reanimated, or nuns that have been reanimated, all of these people who are involved in the criminal activity to turn free people into slaves has to be recombined to make sure it never happens again. Therefore, the recipe calls for most of the minor ones to be brought down to the level of ant. That in the world of evolution is basically the garbage picker. But some people, like ecclesiastic Freemasonry, like the banksters, like the insurance conglomerates, media conglomerates, those people have to be taken out of circulation completely in the context of making a new universe.
Yeah.
And the best place for them to be is something like a slug.
Yeah.
And therefore their DNA would be recombined, that when reanimated, the journey between a slug and an ant is probably 4 billion years.
It's a hell of a long time.
The journey between an ant and a human, probably 4 billion years. So you're basically saying these approaches will be taken out of commission in the next universe, which basically are already created but not populated. And then a similar process goes on at that level, so that eventually creation gets a universe that has been totally tested and retested. And right now, the word basically is, it's not a matter of whether or not this universe will survive. This universe will not survive. It's too late for creation to change things to make it survive. What is up in the air, however, is 5,000 years. If there is a sign of a redeeming social reason that there is a value to the people who are living here, creation is prepared to delay the destruction of the universe up to 5,000 more years. And within that period, if the people make adjustments and the knowledge they will gain about space travel and that kind of stuff, they will be able to survive if they learn to ascend as opposed to assume. Those are the key words in the Bible. Jesus ascended while Mary had an assumption. An assumption is coming out of the ground, living on the surface, and then going back into the ground to be reanimated or recombined. An ascension is to leave this universe through a fifth dimension into the sixth dimension that allows a merging with.
So it's like, me, my DNA.
Yeah.
Basic components used for the next universe.
Yeah.
I have that's kind of what's been on my mind.
Yeah. That's remembering with creation.
Yeah.
Is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
You may have been reanimated by the underground gang in the Moho discontinuity a number of times here, and each time acted as a robot or a slave to their needs. But at one stage of the game, when your recessive knowledge is coming to the forefront, and you realize how the system does not function for human beings, it functions only for a master-slave relationship, then you have broken the bond that the master has. And you have the possibility, if you pledge to creation and follow up with your actions matching your words, of the next time around ascending as opposed to assumption. Think of it like a sump pump in the basement of a house. Water flowing to a house that has no sump pump damages the foundation. So they put a kind of a irrigation canal around the house, underground, and all the water that comes flowing towards the foundation gets sent into the house through the basement walls and finds the sump pump. Sump pump then pumps it out and away from the house. But it's still circulating in the same general area, and if there are many houses side by side, what you're pumping out might be affecting your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you can imagine the water coming into the house being packaged and sent out into space, but instead of following the journey of an expanding space, you're going back to the beginning of time in the opposite direction and out of the universe through a fifth dimension.
Is that the point? Is that like the point? Like when you look at the
singularity, something.
When the X or whatever, when it crosses, it's that little.
Yeah. But there are rules to that game, and being able to do it is what the scientists are trying to define in what they call a unified theory of the universe. And that's what I believe is buried on a plate underground here. And there's another secret that would accompany that, and that's the fact that Caucasians were not born in the Caucasus, but were in fact born in what is now called the Bruce Peninsula, the home of the Huron Indians above Lake Erie in Canada.
Oh, really? I know you've had a couple names, I think, for Caucasians. One title I think I read, you call them white elephants.
Yeah.
Why the white elephants? Is that
white elephants serve a purpose and then are destroyed? And that's what Caucasians are all about.
Yeah, to go out of space.
Come into space and then destroy them.
Yeah. I can't wait, Glenn, to meet you face to face, man, because we got some things I want to talk about. We got a lot I want to talk about.
And I got to speak to a lady ear to ear. I'm going to have to leave you for now.
Oh, yeah, before I spoke to Andy, the one that got turned around, he sees the bigger picture, Glenn. This guy, we've been having, like, conference calls with him. He does things.
He is linked to the first emperor of China.
Oh, wow.
Whose father was called Gun, and he was called Yu, Y-U. Andy is DNA, Y.
Yeah.
So are the Grey Nuns. The Grey Nuns come from a family called Youville, and their original name was Yu, and they were from the south of France. And her maiden name was Jufrost, like Frosty the Snowman. And she married Yu, and he was a smuggler and what do you call somebody who sells booze? Bootlegger, yeah. And he was a thief from Indians, stole their furs, and that's how they raised a whole lot of money. And when he died, he donated the funds to a religious priesthood who then authorized her to create an order of nuns in the New World. And that's the true definition of New World Order.
Yeah.
It's not an order for the world. It's an order of nuns.
That's why they call them orders.
Yeah. An order of nuns in the New World.
Yeah.
And that involved putting people in Montreal to start, then Ottawa, then Ogdensburg.
And these nuns, they educate people.
They run the orphanages and make babies.
I was educated.
Repair broken people in hospitals, and they take care of the aged so they can steal their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call them the Grey Nuns for nothing.
They're behind. I've seen them. I was educated by them. One's in gray and one's in black.
You never grasp the system's function until you understand that it's not the guys who are the leaders that matter in the long run. It's the clerks. And in the Vatican, the leaders are all priests.
Yeah.
But the people who do the clerical work are all nuns.
Yeah,
they do the filing.
All the maidens and the women. I look at. I've been looking at it like that. What are the women's role in this? And I guess it's more of a long-term thing they have for the women.
They will end up with a pseudo-hermaphrodite based upon how you modify a nun. And that begins with the breast implants and the insertion of a gill in between the breasts, along with the medulla that receives through a TELUS communications network from an iPod instructions on making the body perform. The total body becomes a telephone. And when you talk with any one of them, their left breast is like a receiver. And everything you say, even in whispers in bed, is overheard.
Yeah, it's to tell us. They already took people to that with just regular cells.
A matter of miniaturization and then converting from mechanical or communications devices to an organ of the body.
Yep.
Made of the same material. After all, everything that is mechanical is being designed on how a human or animal body functions. Mm-hmm. Now you're reversing the situation and sending it back into skin and bones and muscles and neurons and chemistry, so that there would be no way that someone could detect with an X-ray machine or anything that this body has been modified. That's the ultimate slave. Standing nude, you would see a woman. But that woman would be on total instructions through a unicorn type of communication system from a vehicle that will transport her out to outer space. And once she arrives there, she will be triphibian. She will be able to perform in the air, in her vehicle, on land as she walks around, and in water because the gill in the cleavage will provide oxygen to the body.
Dana told me that I forgot where he got the information, but he said that scientists saying like they just discovered a new planet and they're gonna announce it next year. And I think that this new planet is they're gonna be announcing it because next year is gonna be some type of major cataclysm.
Yeah, they'll call it Pluto, pseudo Pluto. Anyways, I gotta go. I'm late already.
All right, bye.
Talk to you on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, I wanted to say before I let you go, have you spoken to Tom or Ambito?
No.
I'm wondering why they're like they.
Is he in Seattle or?
No, this is what happened. He's back home now, right?
In Scotland.
Yeah, and she's back in California, I think it is. And she tried going over there with him, and she had a whole bunch of problems, and they basically took a picture and they said no, you can't come, and so they sent her back to America, and now they're separated, and I think Tom's a little bummed out over it, and I spoke to her and Bika once, and I don't know. I have the feeling like they don't even really want to talk to anybody, or they might be depressed or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bound
to happen.
Yeah.
In any event, gotta go.
Okay.
Saturday, 2:00.
All right.
Bye.